Get on, Will Perry here. Thursday night? No, it's Wednesday night, 9 o'clock. Thank you very much for being here. If you're on the recording, do share. Say hello on the recording. I will comment to everybody, but the way I've got it set up, I don't really see the comments until they're flying by. So I comment after the event, so thank you very much for that. Thank you for being here. It's quite whited out, the colour, isn't it? But woo, there we go. Tonight we're talking about the NHS. It's about sharing the love for the NHS. I was just about to say last night I was having fun. I was up till 2:30 last night doing a new recording for, I've got tons of, I've got 10 sheets beyond here. No, you can't see them yet. 10 sheets that I've done for a new masterclass recording. I've updated that. And I've done this because I think this works well, the power of pictures. Pictures speak 1,000 words. So I've done my free masterclass in pictures, and I recorded it up till 2:30 last night. But I also did this. I've been working with quite a few people from the NHS recently. I must stop doing this, or tell mummy to stop doing this. If you saw Louise's live, she said she'd done something that she'd never done before. You know, when you mirror people, subconsciously, you know, if they fold a hand and you're in rapport with them, they fold their arms as well. And she went like that because I got her beard. I won't tell her though, or say. So please don't say that she was tired. Right, okay, sorry, she was tired. Anyway, sharing the love. I want you to share the love that you have for the people. Oh, I can feel emotion coming in me already. The people in the NHS. So for the people outside of the UK, the NHS is the National Health Service here. Oh yeah, you dreamt you had a beard last night. That's hilarious. So in the UK, we have a National Health Service. All the taxes the government pay towards this National Health Service. So it's a walk-in service. Whereas I know lots of people that watch this from the US, you don't have that. What you have is you need your insurance to be able to go and get all that. So a very different system. And we're very, very proud, I think, here in the UK, and rightly so, of the NHS, but it is a leviathan. But what I thought it would be lovely to do is, because I know lots of people here will be working within the NHS, and this is kind of directed at them as well, but it would be lovely to show the love. So recount a few stories about your encounters, about your contact with the NHS. Beth, Beth's come on. She's got quite a few, unfortunately, encounters recently. So I hope you're well, Beth. So you know, what support have you had from the NHS, and what made it special? And there's tons of frustrations that you can get, and there will be so many people that are negative about waiting times. About I don't care, frankly, about that. I don't care about those people that are going to be negative about waiting times and everything, because the people. I feel emotional. The people that work in the horrible conditions of the NHS are superheroes to me. Let's think. Most recently, hoping yours is positive next week. There we go. Most recently, we went in for Dolly Pops. We've been in for the birth. So between us, we've got 6 children. Hospitals. I've been in for a miscarriage, which is awful for those of you that have experienced those. But so to deal with all these emotional points, highs and lows, to deal with all these vulnerabilities. You're most vulnerable, aren't you, when you're dealing with these hospital situations, often. When you've got your hopes, or you're just in shock. Or Louise had back surgery, emergency. She had a prolapsed disc, and the next day, she was taken in by the paramedics. The next day had surgery, and the following day had another surgery, and all through the NHS. Just amazing care and the standard of care. What else? My boy broke his leg whilst in hospital once when he was only 2. He had his gentleman's parts adjusted. That's quite common. What else? Other points of contact. Lulu has had asthma, and she's been into hospital a few times. So middle of the night, in the middle of nowhere, when we lived in the middle of nowhere, and the paramedics came and were just incredible. When you are panicked because the little baby that you love is struggling to breathe, and you're trying to keep it together as a parent, and then a fucking caped wonder of a paramedic comes in and is just so brilliant, not just medically, but brilliant with you, brilliant with the baby, brilliant with everything. It's just superb, you know, in those moments, those most human of moments, or humane of moments, that they can be so brilliant. And Helen, amazing to have you on, a paramedic. Oh, I feel emotional. So I want you to share on this, share your love for the people in the health service. If you're in America, share your love for the people that you've experienced. You know, what made it so special? You know, just obviously briefly, but you know, so when Lulu was struggling, we had her on the floor and stripped her off, and you know, you could see her gasping. I can't remember what they call that then, but pulling in here. And in the chest cavity, and it's like, oh my god, you know, really difficult, and getting a nebulizer on, and we got more used to it. But even so, when it goes down quite quickly, it's scary, you know, scary. Obviously Louise screaming in pain with a prolapsed disc, and then to have the surgeons, amazing surgeons, specialists. The hospital local to us was specialised in this area of the back surgery, and we're so grateful for that, you know, absolutely grateful for that. To be able to go to the doctors for everything, you know, everything that you go for. And we were there just, you know, recently, all on the NHS. I just think it's you know, on a night shift now. We'll be covering the difficulties here. But I wanted to start with, you know, just how amazing and how much love there is for the NHS, and rightly bloody so, all right? But the people that work there, they forsake themselves to a large degree, and I think a large portion of people forsake themselves to be able to provide, because they care so much, but they forsake themselves too much. They give too much of themselves. But please, below, share your love for either the people there, the encounter that you've had with the NHS, or if you're in the USA, you know, US, but this happened, this was amazing, the people there were amazing, because it is all about that human contact. So I want you in this post to share the love, you know, hit the love hearts, but also, you know, share your story about what made the experience so special. Because what was it? You know, I bet there was just some amazing people, and they were just so amazing in your hour of need. So what I did with this, it's a video that I want to connect with people that work in the NHS. So maybe you know people that work in the NHS, and for the people I've been working with, helping them overcome low self-esteem, they've said it's like banging your head against the wall. And it's no surprise to me. I worked in a British institution called the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation. I had to think about that, and this is going back a few years, but it's this very British of institutions, again publicly funded, so it's kind of a difficult model to make efficient. And I can relate to a lot of this, a lot of what I hear about the NHS, and also the staff survey came up with similar things that I encountered at my time at the BBC when I was dealing with corporate change. So really, really difficult thing. But what we have in the NHS, of course, is that patient care or carer interface. And that is where all this magic, oh, I feel emotional tonight. That's where that magic happens. I'm thinking about the birth of Dolly Pops, and just how amazing the people were. And we went in the week before, and that often happens, you know, when you get a complication, when you get a difficulty, and it's really, you know, your emotions are heightened, and you're in pain, or your partner's in pain. You know, I go through quite a lot of pain with childbirth, I must admit. Difficult one for me, joking obviously, but you know, when, you know, things are really difficult, and you know, and it's the people at the you know, the patient carer interface that are so brilliant, you know, all those midwives, but anyway, not just babies, it's everything, A&E, paramedics, doctors, GPs, everything. I can remember actually going there and seeing, why am I seeing all these, I was there all hours and everything, and every corner I'd turn, it was, you know, abuse will not be tolerated, and the fourth, it's not health service, it was, I can't remember, but it's about, you know, it's an offence to abuse our staff, and it will not be tolerated, the police will be, and it's like, Jesus, why? Every corner I go around are these posters about abuse towards NHS staff. And it's in the staff survey, which you can get. It's on the public domain. The staff survey, the most recent one, 2018 one, the results of that, saying that, oh gosh, what are the stats? I should have written it down. But it's shocking. You know, the amount, I think it's 25% of staff have experienced, or is an increase of 25% on the year before. And, I'd have to put it in the comments below. But it was shocking. I think it was more than 20% of people are directly by patients abused either physically or verbally by patients, and it's not, well, it doesn't matter where it is. It's just prevalent and it's on the up, and it's just shocking. And I was seeing all these signs, and I was thinking, you know, all these amazing, wonderful people, and they're having to deal with shit as well as the shit that's, you know, of looking after us. You know, they're dealing with, you know, substance abuse and people that are kind of out of control and mental health issues, elderly people that become abusive because of dementia, all these difficult things. But beyond that, so much more is happening, and it's on the increase, and it's so difficult. I find that so frustrating. Again, if I connect with my love and appreciation for those people in your hour of need, to hear that they've been abused is shocking, you know. But guess what? The biggest thing that comes out in the report in terms of the culture, where the culture wants to go in the NHS, is the report says, and it's quite clear, that there's a culture of bullying and harassment towards staff from management. All right, and that's not unusual to me. I mean, particularly in a public corporation, that you public body, that you get that, and we experience that at the BBC, and it's like, right, okay, tackle it on, make it a great place to work. And that's what the NHS is trying to do, make the NHS a great place to work for now, for the people now currently in it, and for the future. But wow, what a challenge they've got, you know, because the abuse and the harassment is coming from management, and management through the policies, and you'll hear this if you're in the UK on all the, you know, it's a political thing, and I'm not about politics at all. I find it disenfranchising and disingenuous. That you know, one party wants to get on about the NHS because they can use it as a tool to dig against the other party, and I just can't be bothered with that. So the problem is that the management are having to report so much, create, you know, the NHS into more of a business, more of an efficient business, and you understand that, make it an efficient vehicle. But the way it is run, the way the rot that's set in and over the years has made that you know, the people delivering the service, or, you know, in the delivery chain for the service, patient care, they are being hindered from doing their job because of all the reporting and the management reporting structure, and people are walking out more and more because the pressure is too much. The pressure is such that it's not sustainable, and that's kind of why I'm connecting with this, with self-esteem, because in general in life, and I remember this from the Dove report. I've got it on my page, actually, my information page. The Dove, I love the aspect that Dove do, the cosmetic company, do a self-esteem survey, and they've been doing it many years. And they say in the UK, I think it was 80% of women have body issues, and basically self-esteem issues. 80%, and that rings true with my experience of people that go through. But of course, I've said this before, that I try and catch people or attract people, because this is what I specialise in: low self-esteem, low self-worth, low self-belief, all the same sort of thing. So I attract that. So 80% of the people that come through me and do the test have low self-esteem. But Dove, you know, puts it out there, and their stats say 80% of the UK women have self-esteem issues. 76, I think it was, in the US, have self-esteem issues. So it's so prevalent. All right, it's so prevalent. So if you take that stat, a general stat, and put it into the NHS, I could say probably about 80% of people in the of women, I'll stick with women, of women in the NHS will have low self-esteem, but they probably won't realise. I never realised it. Okay, and I considered myself not learned. I was very practical, pragmatic. I was a manager, not an academic, and I'm still that. What am I trying to say? I'm getting distracted, giggling at myself not being academic. So I was learned in as much that I've lost my train of thought completely. I'm just laughing about, I was dyslexic, so I came up and it was very practical, and I like things that worked and I could put into practice. Give me how do I use it, the tool, and the academics in the BBC were very learned, very clever and knowledgeable, but it was like, yeah, what's it going to do for me? So that's the kind of the approach that works for me. What's it going to do for me? So self-esteem will hold you back and mess up every aspect of your life, impact negatively on every aspect of your life, but you don't realise it yet. You don't know about it, and so many people don't realise they have low self-esteem because it's not out there. It's not general knowledge. It's not in the esteemed vessels of the professions, the help professions. That's why I've said about myself, it's not on here, but Tony Robbins was saying last week, if there's massive internet training that Tony Robbins did, saying the internet is making everything so much more accessible. If you want to find out how to whatever it is, where do you go? You don't go and sign up a course at your local college. You go straight onto Google or YouTube, and boom, there's the answer. But you tune into the person that's you assign the value to because of their knowledge, either if it's how to build a business that they're evidentially making that money, so that they're making money, they're doing what they're saying, I'll trust that person. Or if it's on development side, they're getting the results here, their clients and the testimonials, I like what they say, I tune into that, I give them my time. So we want things very quickly. Things can happen very quickly. In the educational side, it takes a long time. So I've said a few times now that this self-esteem stuff will be out there. It'll be out there at the colleges, in the vessels of education. But it's going to take a while for this stuff to filter through to the level that I work with it. And I don't say that with arrogance. I say that with confidence. So the depth that I go to, that's how I've helped counsellors, psychotherapists, psychologists, judges, police detectives understand that why they've been emotionally abused, where they didn't realise they were. So people don't realise this stuff. So 80% of people don't realise, 80% of women in the UK don't realise that they suffer from low self-esteem. They think it's them, all right? And it's exactly the same in the NHS. People don't think that it's them. They think it's their fault. All right, they know and they forgive the old archaic machine that is the NHS, but they think it's me, so they do more and they get carried out. And the pressure, they can't take the pressure. So I want to reach out and say, look, it's not you, all right? Well, it's kind of not your fault. This is what it is. It's this thing called low self-esteem. I didn't realise it, okay? I didn't realise it, and this is the bit going back to the learning bit. I thought I was quite working at a quite high level, which I kind of was with Ashford Business School, working on a corporate change programme at the heart of this massive, great multi-million-pound change programme at the BBC, being a coach, being an NLP trainer, all of these really cool things. And then I didn't realise this stuff. I didn't realise the patterns in my life that had led me to be caged by my negative beliefs. I didn't know any of that stuff, even though I coached and helped other people, director level and all that stuff. And it's like, how can I not know this stuff? That's why I get so passionate about helping other people. So I thought, cool, I want to help people in the NHS. All right, those people that probably don't realise they have low self-esteem, but are being crippled and crushed emotionally by the pressures that the NHS is putting on them, and you can't take that sort of pressure without it having an impact. The shifts, right? So ironic that Helen was saying she's on a shift. She's on a late shift tonight, and it's her birthday, and she's a paramedic. Hat off to you, my love. Hat off to you. So the shifts, this is representing the shifts, day, night shifts, 12 hours, 20, whatever it is, crazy stuff. Looks like it's going to be better, then it turns worse. Of course, the family are expecting to see you, but they don't. And then you work late. Loads of reports about people working late because they care, and there's breakdown of the system. So people, there's no cover unless you do it yourself, but you're not going to get paid for it. You're going to be missing out. You're exhausted. Your mental health is suffering. But there's nobody here to mop up. There's nobody else to carry the can. There's nobody else. So you do it yourself. And those are the amazing people that keep going. But they can't be expected to keep going for long. And that's why people are walking with their feet. In some areas, the NHS, people leaving is up by 80%. It's crazy, and people are searching, the NHS trusts are searching outside of the UK to get people in. Share your love. Oh, I've been assaulted several times, last job. Yeah, and this is absolutely applicable for care workers, I know, but I'm focused particularly on this. But share your stories, connect with it in terms of, if you generalise this, what could it be? Where do you connect with this and relate to this? So the shift work is just crazy, putting crazy pressure on it. Feels like you're banging your head against a wall, because it isn't getting better. Things aren't changing on a good level. Things seem to be getting worse, and it's politicians fighting over it's awful. So you've got the interface here. The patient has various different expectations of the NHS, of that person that they've got in front of them, and of their knowledge and their expertise and what they can or can't do. Whether you can meet them or not is kind of up to you a bit, or it might be up to the difficulty of mismatch of the policies and procedures, and so many people want to do, breaking the rules to give excellent care. And that's forsaking yourself, because then and I've experienced this just with the last birth of our beautiful Dolly Pops, people having to, fill the gaps themselves personally. And that's just awful. But people are flipping amazing. I didn't expect to get so emotional. But I've grown up with the NHS, I broke that hand 3 times, or that head-on fracture 3 times on that wrist, and that one once, or maybe it was the other way around, I can't remember. But, as a boy, I was, going up, getting plastered, visiting the hospital. My dad would flirt with the nurses, nice. I kind of grew up with it. I didn't break lots or go in there lots, have lots of needs, but had a motorbike crash when I was 22 or something, 21, 20, stopped... I stopped the A3 just by Robin Hood Way roundabout. I stopped the A3 in both directions, not just one direction. It's one of the busiest roads going into London, because I crashed my hire bike into the car in front and I cut my knee quite badly. And a helicopter happened to be nearby and came down, but there was an ambulance just down there, and it's like, damn, the ambulance managed to get through to get to me, just as this man with his blue overalls came out of there looking like... how I remember it is like one of those American pilots. Took his aviators. Aviators often said, "Hi, I'm Chuck. You just missed a ride in my helicopter. Take care, buddy." He didn't. He was British. But it kind of in my shock-ridden memory, that's how it occurred. And then they said, yeah, you just missed a ride on that helicopter. But we were near near Kingston Hospital anyway, and it was all a blur. But I was like, oh, who was that vision of that? Hey, you just... But that's why I managed to block both lanes in the morning in rush hour. So NHS, just flipping fantastic. Those people that deliver that service, that are able to do it, but then they have to work around the shocking systems. Now, I don't have an answer for this, and it's really difficult if you're a manager within the NHS, because you're being, the squishes from both sides, both the people that you have to try and manage and deliver change to, but also from above, where there's massive change and pressure, and all this political stuff, which is horrid, and I'd hate it. However, if you have low self-esteem, you're going to really suffer within this system. You're going to want to give because you're a doormat, and I always say that with respect, because I was the world's biggest doormat. You're going to want to give of yourself, but give of yourself too much, because you think you're not worthy, that other person is more worthy than me. And that's a dangerous thing. I call it leaky bucket syndrome. You can, if you've got a leak in the bucket, always giving, you need to, you're topping up, but that's the thing, you never top up, so you're always leaking, so it can't go on forever. You either stop the leak, or fix the bucket, and that's what you need to do. You need to fix the bucket. It's not be a leaky bucket syndrome. And in fact, by fixing your self-esteem, you can help more people, because you're more resourceful. You can connect more resources rather than just trying to do everything yourself and you end up drowning. So people in the NHS, women that have low self-esteem, I invite them to connect with me on here, or message me, take the self-esteem test. It's really, but I'd love you to identify yourself, so if you, in fact, I've got something, I'm not quite ready yet, but it'll be ready in a day. If you want to message me directly, say, oh yeah, I'll take your test. I'd love you to come and take the test. Because if you have low self-esteem, working on your self-esteem will help you. It's going to kind of put your padded bulletproof jacket on, because it'll stop you banging and it'll give you more resources rather than you banging your head against the wall and damaging yourself. around the shift, you know, there's certain things that you're given, but people give away, when they have low self-esteem, they give away shifts. They forsake themselves. They don't stand up for themselves. Somebody messaged me today, it was Rachel, hi Rachel, saying, how do I say no? You know, and that's so common. You know, it's the same. It's almost as common as people saying, or just on the parallel, I'd say, of people sort of being able to say a compliment. You know, people genuinely saying, wow, you know, you're attractive, or that was amazing, you're amazing. Oh, no, you can't take a compliment because your self-worth is so low. It's so damaging. That's the leaky bucket syndrome. So, you know, by being able to fix and repair your self-esteem, which you absolutely can, then, you know, everything improves. And that's what I'm so passionate about. Everything improves, everything changes, there's a knock-on effect from all this stuff. Hi Lisa, how you doing? So management. Guess what? Dealing with managers. Lots of managers are abusers. Because they've been able to get away with it. I remember the culture in the BBC trying to tackle that. And when we got to a pivotal point where we started to get that feedback from middle managers and heads of divisions and everything, saying, right, you know, they're trusting you enough in this process to say, right, here are the problems. Now, what are you going to do with it? You know, this is the pivotal point. What are you going to do with this information of people saying, right, okay, if you're going to help us here? And it was like, you know, because the directors above were going, no, that's not right. That can't be right. We refuse that because we've done that. We've dealt with that. Boom, it's done. And it's blah. So really interesting stuff going on here with the dynamic, and it feels quite familiar. So difficult place to be, difficult place because you're going to be around bullies that haven't been tackled before. You're going to be around narcissists everywhere. And if you are somebody with low self-esteem dealing with a narcissist, you know, you are going to suffer, of course. They're going to torment you. They're going to belittle you. They're going to control you. They're going to manipulate you. They're going to make you feel worthless, and it's awful. You know, like itching and scratching a wound. It's going to be terrible. If you build your self-esteem, you will not take that. All right? And how good is that? That's putting on your bulletproof jacket. That's preparing you for that sort of stuff. That's protecting you. Is that not? Is that fixing your leaky bucket? And, you know, people are walking out of jobs they love. And yes, you can get better paid, better terms and conditions elsewhere. Yet there's this passion and this love. Oh, it moves me. I'm in an emotional mood today. It's my hormones. I might go on there. I was getting distracted with testicles. But, you know, people leave even though, boom, 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 okay? But there's this love that they have as well, and they wish they could. But guess what? You cannot take that pressure, and it's quite right that you should leave if, you know, you've tried your best. And this isn't going to change overnight. However, if you have low self-esteem and you choose to grow that and fix that, which you can, it gives you like armor for that. It gives you, what did I call it? A bulletproof vest, you know, a protection from the damage that's caused from having low self-worth because you belittle yourself, and it's nothing you've done nothing wrong, it's not your fault. That's just your default setting, but you need to change that to be able to survive such a leviathan of a system. And that's what I see a lot in the kind of stats, the survey. The people that suffer most are going to be people with the lowest worth, all right? And the mental health issues are not being the people's mental health, workers' mental health are not being cared for, and that came out in the survey, all right, as a key issue. And there's a warning about what's coming up. Well, guess what? Focus on the people that have low self-esteem, help them grow their self-esteem, and guess what? That's going to push up the shit and surface the shit that the higher levels have to deal with, because they won't take it anymore, and quite bloody rightly so. Who's behind me on that one? Oh, who wants to help the people that are getting the shit stop taking the shit and push it up? So hi Aidan, how you doing? Joining just now. The recording is about to be available because I'm about to go. So if you know, what I'd like you to do, first off, share the love that you have, because there's too much shit people talk about, crap. You know, share the love that Sarah. I'll let you share what you do, Sarah. Share your story about your passion, your love, and your appreciation for the NHS, because I think anybody working in it would love to read that. So, you know, literally share that below. Second, maybe share this with, and share it privately if you want. Share it in a direct message. Share it in a group or whatever. However you're connected to people. Share it to people in the NHS, because I'd love to help people that have low self-esteem. And there's a free 2-minute test. It's 10 questions. It's all automated. It's really easy to find out whether you have low self-esteem. If you have low self-esteem, all these issues will be directly at you, and you will be the one that suffers most from them. Let's help people in the NHS with low self-esteem rise and push that shit further up where it needs to be dealt with, because it shouldn't be landing in your lap, and yet it will if you have low self-esteem. I hope that makes sense. I will answer any questions below. Thank you everybody that's contributed to this. I'm an emotional man. I celebrate that, and I have a lot of passion for the NHS. So thank you, NHS, for everything you do. But of course, what I'm saying in that is thank you for all the people at the interface, the patient, carer interface, because you are freaking awesome. So thank you for what you do. And for the freaking awesome people in the management that aren't narcissists and bullies and contributing to the shit that's been pushed down. So thank you very much. Try and put a positive spin on that one, because there is a positive spin. So anybody that's dealing with low self-esteem, you need to raise your self-esteem. I'd love you to raise your self-esteem so you can push the shit back up where it needs to be tackled, so you have a better work environment and create a place where the NHS can be a good place to work, because I know for a large majority it isn't. All right, many thanks. I'll be interested in your comments, really genuinely interested in your comments. Many thanks, and speak to you next Wednesday. All right, bye-bye.